Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Boss Battle. This is episode 70. I'm one of your hosts, Hato Meta, alongside with my co-host, Ramen Cash. Ramen, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. My head looks really big. Is it bigger than usual?
Yeah, you look a little zoomed in today.
All right. I'm just checking. I feel great. How about, there you go.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, you were kind of like giving us a little close-up there. But
oh, yeah, I do have pants.
I've never seen that before.
Well, now you know.
Thank God you have pants on.
This isn't like COVID Zoom meeting time. I've got pants on.
Yeah, is this the real Robin or is this a video?
It's the
Talking about COVID Zoom videos. We also have our guest here, Aaliyah. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
Doing great. Another beautiful day in Austin, Texas for me and wherever Ramen is in the dark void that he's always in. Ramen, are you ever going to get like a background for your VTuber?
You know, I almost did it today. I could use NVIDIA broadcast and do something cool or put something on there. I just don't know. But if you come on the show for additional $29.99, I will put your logo as an animated GIF in the back. I'm just like,
no, I mean, that's a real offer. We at Catalyst support that. Go ahead and hit up the boy with some kind of sponsorship, and we'll have some background finally for Ramen. That'd be
make
awesome.
It rain Aaliyah logos all behind me through the whole episode for just $29.99. Buy one get one free for a limited time this weekend. Double XP.
Whenever we do like ads for our company, we definitely need me to be like the face, and then you got to be like the quick guy at the end where it's like warning, blah, 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 like all the labels at the end.
If you suffer from migraines, itchy, like one of those pharmaceutical.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's go over the rules of today's show. Our guest has to have an A85 average across all of the bosses. Towards the end of each round, everyone will be voting on Twitch to determine how our guest is doing. There will be a cooldown period called the Slurpee Voltage round. And that period will not be graded. It's going to be rapid fire, hard-hitting questions. So, Aaliyah, are you ready to get into our episode of Boss Battle?
Yep, sounds fun.
Let's do it. All right, question one has a phrase here. Aaliyah REK'T est. I swear to God, Sersky knows that I'm going to ask like the first bosses every time, so they put some weird language in there to trip me up. It says, the die cast. Tell us the origin story. How did this project come to be, and what inspired you to create a fantasy hero battler?
Yeah, so we have kind of an interesting origin story where, so I was a web dev for many years, and I always kind of like dabbled in game dev behind the scenes or like at nights and weekends. I had started this project, not really with any particular goal in mind. I mean, I was kind of like using it to learn more and whatever, and I had a very specific vision for like a combat system like we have in our game, and we were kind of developing it. It kind of kept progressing more and more, and then it eventually got to a point where I decided I thought I could do this full time. So I quit my job. I was actually working at a Web3 company at the time. And we shopped it around to various publishers, plenty of like household names from like the Web2 industry. Nobody was like really biting on it. And so I was about ready to give up basically. And by give up, I mean like to go get a job again. And I decided to just kind of like Hail Mary it. I was like, I had a friend tell me that like Web3 gaming, which I was like slightly familiar with from maybe like 2020, 2021, like that era. He said it was, it's taken off. You can kind of write your own ticket. You can be like fully independent. And I kind of remembered it from back then. I'm like, aren't they kind of like in the browser type games or whatever? Like I wasn't totally up to speed or whatever. So I kind of did some research. I felt pretty confident that I could put a quality product out in that space. And I still feel that way. And so, that's what we did. I had at the time, I had basically like a single player demo version of the game where you could kind of at least like see how the game would feel. Like, I would say it's more than a prototype, less than an MVP, that kind of situation. We put it out there. People really liked it. And from there, we've just been going. So I never went back to work, thank God. And now I just work 80 hours a week on this. So it's kind of a trade-off, I guess. But
oh, you definitely went back to work. You've been working even more than you were the other time, I'm sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm showing a little bit of gameplay here on the screen, but it looks pretty snappy and quick and pretty fun, actually. Pretty fun looking gameplay. The next question here on the list. By the way, I want to shout out some people in the chat. Shout outs to Clouds for being here. By the way, Fire PFP. He looked like he modeling real quick. Cuban model right here. We also have Agent Zanny saying, wait, you never went back to work? Sad face. No, he definitely went back to work. He works more than he ever has in his life.
Yeah, definitely.
Building a game for sure. The next question here says, for someone who's never heard of Aliyah, give us the elevator pitch. What is this game and what makes it unique?
I would say what makes it unique is that there's nothing directly comparable out there right now. I would like to say as my elevator pitch, it's a fantasy hero battler. And what that sort of means to me is that we're splitting the difference somewhere between a hero shooter and a MOBA. So somewhere in between maybe like an Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, and like a League of Legends. But we're also sort of pulled in this like third axis, closer to something maybe like approximating almost like MMO PvP, if anybody in your audience is old enough to remember when that was popular. So there's nothing really directly comparable. I think that if you come from different gaming backgrounds, there's like a point of entry, like there's a point that you'll feel familiar. Like if you come from a shooting background, you play Aliyah, you play the Archer, like you certainly you'll know how to hit your arrows, you know what I mean? But if you come from like a different background, like we've got the character, he's more like a tank, he more like controls the battlefield. Later on, we're going to be adding like supports, things like this. That's like the tank character you can see there. And so it's got kind of like something for everyone. Somewhere I should tweet it out. I have a graph that I used to use in our pitch. It's like a Venn diagram of like all these different games, and they all kind of intersect like a little bit in the center, and we're kind of there. So it's like there's something for everybody, but there's nothing directly comparable to it, which I think makes it very unique and appealing.
Damn, I'm muted. It looks like one of those games that is like easy to pick up, hard to master. Is that like a fair assessment?
Yeah, definitely. Like you've got 8 total abilities, which is a lot, but you only ever have 4 at a time. It's got kind of like a stance swapping mechanic. You can see he's kind of going between the 2-handed sword and then the 1-handed sword and shield. And so usually it's like there's like a weapon swap or like a form swap, but every character kind of has like 2 forms they can be in. And so you only ever have 4 at a time. You don't have to manage an ultimate or anything like that. We don't have that. And usually the 4 abilities that you have are like very, very intuitive. You read the tooltip one time and you have a very good idea of like how this is going to work. But over time, as you play the game more and more, people find all kinds of more complex interactions. And the game is to a point now where some people play it and they have interactions or tech or whatever that even I didn't necessarily envision. You know, they're just kind of like finding it. So it's kind of a surreal experience.
It's also nice to like see like a meta like naturally kind of form from the game. They like you may not have intended that to happen, but like it just naturally happens organically. That's always nice to see that.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, let's go on to the next question here. And it says, you describe Aliyah as a competitive team-based fantasy hero battler set in a Coliseum. Walk us through what a match actually looks like from start to finish. I mean, we've seen a little bit of like that, but like, is there anything else you want to share about that?
Yeah. So right now we've got one game mode, but you can kind of, it's like one game mode, but 3 different team sizes. So the game mode is arena mode, which is effectively just a team deathmatch with like kind of some twists to it. And then you can queue that as a 3v3, a 2v2, or a 1v1. And so the way it works is you come out with your team. The objective is to just eliminate the other team. But there's a little bit more to it than that. So first of all, you've got about 90 seconds before storm starts closing in, and then you get sudden death. And so that's sort of like your Fortnite style or whatever. Like we close the ring. So we make each round end. You can't stall, in other words. And then the additional mechanic is in the center of every map, there's an orb. and whoever can last hit this orb secures it for their whole team. So it gives you an additional, it heals you, it also gives you some maximum health, and it also gives you 10% damage boost for the remainder of the round. And so if you, I've already seen many strategies come around where people are, they kind of play for late game, they try to secure 2 or 3 orbs, things like this. And those two mechanics, even though they're very simple, they kind of play off of each other in a way where you get kind of interesting and new outcomes. You know, someone may be trying to play for a late game and get a bunch of orbs. If that goes wrong, it really goes wrong because now the storm is coming in and now they've got to kind of scramble or whatever. So that's the gist of it.
Look who's muted again, just talking and not even doing anything.
Thank you, Ramen. The poll should be live on the Twitch chat, so go ahead and vote, guys, if you're watching. Give us A, B, C, or D, honest vote. And I do want to say, we're going to move on to the next question here, because it kind of segues into what we're talking about a little bit. What's the core gameplay loop? How does a player progress, improve, and what keeps them coming back for another match?
Yeah, so and that is what we're working on right now. So we hit our like MVP, where right now you can download the game, play a match, whatever. I would almost guarantee you'll have fun, but we need to get some systems in place. We just signed with Warp Publishing, and so we're working with them to try and hash out sort of like a long-term strategy, but also a very short-term strategy. Like, what can I deliver to players like right now to kind of give them some progression, some like UA stickiness. What we're thinking right now, this might also answer maybe like a question down the road here as well. But what we're thinking right now is I'd like to have like a weekly tournament. We're sort of working on all the back end stuff to do that. And so the way I envision it is it'll be a 24-hour points-based tournament, forced solo queue, which I know is highly unusual. But you have to queue solo, so the teams are going to be varied for sure. And then you get points for winning, you lose points for losing, and then it kind of keeps track in a leaderboard. And then at the end of that, we can give you rewards. So that's kind of like, that's our North Star right now, as just like a single feature. The reason I want it to be one day is because it's going to condense, even if we have a low player base, we condense them all into a 24-hour period. You get queue pops for that period. Longer term, yeah, we have ideas for like longer progression systems. We're kind of hashing that out. I probably should have said this also at the start of the show. We are like the most indie of indie. Like I made all the features myself. Like, this is a solo dev game. So the way I have to do it is like Warp comes in. Warp has a lot of new tech, a lot of new goodies for me to use. That kind of changes some of the features, to be honest. Like, I'm very much like, I go with the grain, you know what I mean? If we have certain tech that can enable features of a certain persuasion, then I'm gonna try and use that. You know what I mean? It's not like I necessarily have like the strongest vision in one direction. I have to make it work. It's like, no, I will work with what I got. So that's what we're kind of doing right now for the long-term stuff. But short-term, I'm really trying to get us to MMR and a leaderboard. We test that. Probably I can reward some cosmetics while we do that. And then from there into this weekly tournament on the weekends.
As I'm scrolling on your guys' timeline here, it's just like constant gameplay clips. Constant.
Yeah, I try to post one, like, I think I actually forgot today, but I try to post one like every day.
That's amazing because, I don't know about you, Robin, but I've been here, we've been here, Robin, you've been here longer than me, right?
2014, I don't know.
Web3 games?
No, I think you're just in the space. No, just like
gaming side of things.
Just like right around the end of 2017, 2018 when things were funky. Yeah.
Really? Okay. Well, I've been here like since 21, 22-ish. In terms of like the gaming side of things, I've never seen a game in Web3 that shows as much content of the game as much as this.
Me neither. It's like an actual indie studio, like an actual game studio.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just want to give you some flowers on that real quick.
Wait. Hold on. Is there any token talk or any money talk? Because then I'm going to take all of that away. Hold on.
I mean, you have a ticker here, but
I try not to do that, to be honest. I try to just let the game do the talking because that's our strength. Like the game is really fun. Even people who have played it who like didn't necessarily like the Web3 elements or they had some kind of gripe with it, they will like begrudgingly admit that they had a good time while they played them. So
begrudgingly.
so like yeah, like people do like the game, and that is definitely the strength of it. Like I'm always just trying to. You can you can ask the Alley community or whatever. There was a period where I was like, listen, I just have to get us to MVP. Like trust me. Like I mean, the game will do the talking for us. We're finally at that point now.
I'm decreeing a new standard of blockchain in Web3 games. It's called POG, proof of game. We have it right here, first time. Well, I mean, not the first time, but I'm just saying, like, when I look at this to me screams like indie studio.
Yeah.
But it also screams like we're working on it. Like we're actually implementing changes and stuff. Like I saw a post for was like a loading screen. Yeah, like here's a loading screen.
Yeah.
I can't recall a Web3 game posting, here's our loading screen. Like
yeah. I think it looks cool. It's got a cool perspective, and we got our own like artists making it and everything. So
for sure. Shout outs to Damien in the crowd. What's up, Robin?
Yo, no, I was saying, I always love the indie vibe. If you saw my live stream earlier today, I was playing. It was from a 2-dev team called Shadow Rush, and it's a movement FPS, and it's like pre-alpha, but it was still a lot of fun. So, it's easy to just dog on games when they're not finished, right? But it's like I think really the way to look at it is to find the potential as rough it is. What is it? The diamond in the rough thing, right?
Right.
And so like I find that with a lot of the smaller like indios too. This is a different level of passion too. I don't know. I fuck with it. Can I cuss on this show? Yeah, I fuck with it.
It's our show, bro. Of course you can. And that's the great P word of the day is like a lot of the games that we bring on this space, they show passion, but like I would make the argument that Aaliyah's showing passion through the game. And that right. Shines through the game rather than just going on a mic and saying that you have passion. Like, show me the passion, like literally. And I mean, maybe it's early for some games. They maybe should wait before they kind of do their media marketing route. But what I've seen in this space, like, it's like a lot of talk and not a lot of walk, right? And it's good to see an entity in the space that is doing more walking than talking. We have one more question here on the first boss. And by the way, guys, if you haven't voted yet, you're losing your chance because we're running out of time. So be sure to vote. The game features strategic abilities and swift movement in arena combat. How many heroes or character types are you planning, and how do they differ in play style?
That's a good one. So I have 9 like slated for sure. I'm willing to do more, but like again, like I'm one guy, so we've had 3 for a while. You can ask them. I've had a 4th one who's about 80% done for a very long time. People are always asking me when he's coming out. So I got 9 slated. As for how they differ, pretty significantly. So that is definitely another draw of the game. Is like if you like a game that has combat with like extremely varied characters of different roles and different play styles, like we definitely have that. So you've got the archer is definitely like if you come from an FPS background, like I said earlier, that's probably who you will gravitate to first. The mage is also like a ranged DPS type character, but it's got a very different play style. It's more about like control at the right time and then burst at the right time. The warrior is really more like kind of like a combination of like a bruiser and a tank. We've got a paladin coming out. He's kind of like a combination of like a sort of like a beefy support. And then we've got a bunch more. They're all based on the original 9 like World of Warcraft classes. If anybody listening played that, that's kind of what they're all. They also have like the same names. They're all based on those sort of archetypes, kind of brought into like a 3D action camera. Like in my mind, the way I see it is like I took those archetypes and like modernized them, like modernized the combat. But they all kind of come from those archetypes, and I believe those archetypes come from like Dungeons and Dragons or something. So they're kind of like the tried and true ones. But yeah, that's what we got 9, hopefully.
That is awesome. I don't know if I want to play tank or ranged in this type of game because if you close the gap, you're screwed if you're ranged. But if you can play kind of keep away game, like kind of kite a little bit, you know, you can kind of like beast from a distance. So I don't know, Robin, what would you pick?
I mean, I'm usually like distance as long as there's good movement. Like I need evasive too. Like I can't be plinking away and taking 5 HP and get doom crushed, you know, one-shotted. Like, and if I do have a low defense, because that's typically what happens with a lot of the ranged characters, I want a little bit of dodge or movement, which I did play the game a little bit. I don't think I got a lot. I think I played it when it was like really, really early. I couldn't really find a lobby. I actually didn't really know where to go. So I'm actually pumped to get back into it a little bit more. And you're talking about competitive and doing something weekly, and I'm like, yeah, we should probably do that at Catalyst.
Yeah, definitely hop back. If you go in, we've got like an open Discord now and everything. So if you go in there, you could like add the testers. Usually you can find at least one person who will queue in 1v1.
Ooh, that's my kryptonite. He said Discord.
Dude, yeah, I agree, Ramen. So many dudes. I actually like left like I was in so many Discords. I had to leave so many of them. So, you know, I do want to ask though. There's a snowman here. Is this like a NPC character? Is this like a power up you can kill and get, or like, and also like, what's going on in your city, bro?
Oh, can you hear that?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Is that Baltimore?
Down a little bit.
You got going on over there?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see here. Maybe I can turn it down a bit.
Like, hey, no
Chi-town?
for the day. Aliyah, we're coming for you. We go put you in
Man, watch out. SEC be rolling deep these days, going crazy.
That's the rest of the Web3 games. Like, hey, you can't be showing gameplay. What are you doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I tried to turn it down a little bit. I always have to like play this little balancing game between the gain or whatever, where I turn it too low and then you can't hear me. But to answer the question about the snowman, that is so like I said, there's two forms. So the mage has a fire form and an ice form. So that is the ice form E. It's probably like her longest cooldown move. So she summons this snowman and he will throw snowballs, which he pulls out of his own chest and he throws them at people. And also you can hide inside of him. So if she goes up to him and interacts, she can like jump inside of him, and then you have to eliminate the snowman to get back at her health.
And is this 2-player or just 1v1s?
Well, this clip is a 1v1, but you can queue 1v1, 2v2, or 3v3 right now.
Ooh.
3v3 is a little hectic. 2v2, I think, is kind of the most. That seems to be what people like the most. 3v3 is a little hectic, but definitely fun. 1v1, I do not promise you're going to have a balanced experience, like, you know, but there are some pretty good. If you watch like the latest teaser trailer, that's all 1v1s, and they've sort of impressed me almost how good people have gotten at it and sort of the emergent gameplay like we talked about earlier.
Catalyst boys and girls, whoever wants to play, we got to play this. I want this to be constant. I want to talk shit. I want to have fun. We got to play this game. This looks like a lot of fun. Damien's saying that it's really fun. Like he gave me a couple of hundreds in a private chat. That is going to complete the first line of questioning. We're going to go into our special announcement, and I'm going to kick it over to Ramen. You like that?
Yeah, I like that.
I made that with Suno. That's
it's
me.
Grimy. It's like industrious and grimy, like.
I didn't really like that shit.
Yeah, man.
Oh shit.
Man, my whole past is crazy. All right. Anyway, my favorite part of the show. Woo! This is what we talking about. We got the Aaliyah cartridge today, my friend. If you haven't seen this from the past 69 episodes, wink, wink, that we had just done. Well, we're on to number 70, and this is my favorite price. It is free, so you should claim that. You see all these beautiful badges down there. Vanna, show them. You see that? And the thing is,
you see it slow. You see it slow like that?
Yeah. Like
I got tricks.
Look at that motion. Look at that motion.
I got tricks.
Okay. Yeah, check this out. Now collect them all, like Pokemon, but don't sue us. Yeah. And you want these because later on they're going to be used for the Catalyst ecosystem. I like the slow roll. We did a lot, man. We were thinking about this. We really have done a lot. Like looking back, oh, there's Nyan.
This is a classic technique that I do in my editing sometimes.
Wait,
by the way.
What's a Web3 game that we wish was still here?
Oh,
I had fun with Nyan for sure.
I mean, oh shit, we got Futureverse, we got Champions Ascension, rest in peace, I think. No? I don't even know.
Do you make tombstones for these now? Like cartridges?
Dude, okay. I know a CEO of Catalyst. I know and all the founders. I know that you guys have been like, no NFTs, bad. But if we made a tombstone with all the logos and minted that at a collection on the XRP Cafe, I will figure out how to do it. If you just greenlight it for me and we put the Catalyst logo, I will figure out how to do minting on Cafe. Please, that would be the funniest thing ever.
Make me a thousandaire.
All proceeds go to Catalyst.
Thank you. Not financial advice and stuff.
NFA. No, but that's a great idea, Ram. That's a great idea. We gotta put a pin in that.
It's gonna hurt feelings, boys. It's gonna hurt feelings.
Hey, truth hurts, man. Truth hurts. A lot of these games aren't around anymore, so it's not like they can do anything about it. You know, it's not like they can grill us on the timeline. You know, I mean, like, it's not like they can do anything about it. So
hey, man, you got games suing 15-year-olds on the timeline, so you never know.
That's true. You never know in this space. All right, Robin, we're gonna move on to the next boss. Are you ready?
Let's do it. I love the boss number 2.
Let's do it.
Oh, Hado, I did you a favor today. I didn't make any dad jokes or one-liners.
Yeah, that's unusual for you. Like you doing okay, buddy? You good?
I've only had 1 Celsius. That could be it. No heart palpitations yet. Not sweating. No niacin coming through my pores. I don't know if I'm ready for boss number 2.
Maybe you should hit a dab first.
No, I quit.
Oh, you quit?
Yeah, I'm just working out.
Good for you.
Yep.
I feel like you're trolling, but good for you if you quit.
I'm really not.
You working out for real?
Yeah, no, like every day I have been. Yeah, no.
Influencer for real, bro. This is
Can I share a moment? I'm sorry, Leah. Let me give you some of the people that are inspiring that love to consume trees as a connoisseur. What I did was, oh man, you just zoomed me in. Here's what I did, right? I had to pay the price before I went to go smoke. So before I went to go smoke, I've got some workout stuff in the garage. I had to do reps. I had to pay 5 reps. That was the price to smoke. And then to leave that area, I had to do another 5 reps. And listen, I smoke a lot. And I wanted to turn a negative into a positive. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm old as shit. I should probably just not smoke these dabs and just start working out. I could start seeing my 6-pack again. I've got traps, like traps. You know, I got show like it looks good. Like, you know, I'm starting to feel good when I look in the mirror. And that's crazy because I'm a box of noodles. So it's just, you know, my form is wild, right? So folks, it's out there. You don't have to do it. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to go do 20 pull-ups or 50 reps. Just start with a few and start with progress. But over time, just like if you're going out and smoking or doing whatever bad habit that is, at least try to match that with something positive. That's it. That's all it is. Your boy out here, listen, I could smash out 50 push-ups, single run, 50. I'm 44 years old. I'm dried up noodles, 50 push-ups. I'll even put it on video. I'll even video it so you guys can see that. Anyway, that's it. That's your motivational for today. PSA from Ramen. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. That was beautiful, brother.
Yeah, no worries. Make sure you play Aaliyah too. All right, you ready for boss number 2?
You look like a pimp, Robert.
It ain't easy. It ain't easy, let me tell you.
Pippin' ain't easy.
All right, boss number 2. You're building on Immutable and being published by Warp Chain. How did you end up partnering with Warp, and what does that relationship look like in practice?
We connected through Warp. I believe, I can't remember the name of the conference now, but it was through a conference. We got to talking to one of their tech guys. And as for in practice, what that looks like, well, it's going to be a lot of things. Right now, it's a brand new partnership, so we're in tons of meetings. and we're kind of just figuring it all out. But they're going to be able to help us with, like I kind of alluded to earlier, we're going to do some econ overhaul stuff. It's kind of all interrelated because we also get new tech with them. They have this bridging tech, which is very, very simple and straightforward, and I like it a lot. And so it's like kind of like I said earlier, it's like, well, we have this bridging tech. What kind of features would be easy to make with that tech? And whatever they are, like I'm going to tailor it to fit that. So we're going to get some new tech. We're going to get some econ stuff. We're going to get marketing, all kinds of publishing stuff, like how to get on the Epic Store and all that kind of stuff. All the stuff you'd expect from like all the whole constellation of like publishing stuff. But then also they've got Web3 tech for us as well.
What's bridging?
So they've got bridging tech specifically for taking like an in-game asset, like whatever, a sword, let's say, and then to take it out of your game and into like minted in Web3 and vice versa. And so it's actually gone from one and present in the other. So in other words, like it's not like a flagging thing or whatever, where it's technically still in the game, but it's flagged as off, and vice versa. It's actually like deleted out of your database, minted to the blockchain, or burned from the blockchain, created in your database. So it's a very straightforward and simple system, but it allows us to do a lot of new stuff.
No, I knew what it is. I'm just trying to say that's when Web2 gamers ask that, and then we give them that explanation, and they're like, "Oh man, oh man."
They're still confused. They're more confused than last time.
Yeah.
No,
that is very true.
It's good. Abstraction is king. That's where I've come to realize. Abstraction is king. No, you made a great move with the guys over at Warp. We love everybody over there. Shout out Warp. Let's go. Speaking of Warp, we're going to warp on to the next question. Boss number 2, your stated goal is to bring Web 2 and Web 3 players together in the arena. How do you actually achieve that? And what can a non-crypto player do versus someone engaging with the Web 3 features?
Yeah, so I think there are kind of two ways to do it, or rather, there's like maybe two answers to this question. So the first is that you're just not gonna. Wow, maybe this is controversial to say, but I just don't think you're gonna pull in Web 2 people unless you have a game that couldn't exist in Web 2 on its own, like on its own legs. It's just what it is. Like they're not. Normal people that play games, I mean, they might be slightly interested in like owning assets or whatever. They might be like, they've heard about the Valve basically just like, it's not a blockchain, but they basically just like run a blockchain, but they're like, what I mean, with the Steam marketplace and everything. They might have like some conception of that, but it's just not really like a priority for them. So I think you have to just make a game that like, and Alia is a game like this. Like if this game just released in Web 2, like people would like it, you know what I mean? So that's step one. I think step two, actually, I think that where Web 2 and Web 3 people meet is with the risk stuff, the gambly stuff. I think that that's actually very popular with people for better or worse, however you think about it. That is really what people like. I mean, you look at the games that have become very popular over the last year, like Balatro, for example, and people have. It's crazy to see because, like, I don't know, when I was young doing competitive games, like anything involving RNG was like, you better not. Like, you're going to get flamed. You know what I mean? But now people, they like it. They like the randomness. They like being able to risk for more or whatever. So I think actually that is maybe where you can meet them. Like as a side effect of that, yes, you will own your assets. Yes, you can trade them and all that kind of stuff. But I think that that's the meeting ground for those two worlds, actually.
Truer words have never been more said about like, you can't have a game that won't exist in Web 2 that exists in Web 3 and expect Web 2 players to play it. I mean, it's such an obvious statement, but it needs to be said because a lot of people don't understand that. And you're right. Like, if you want to attract a Web 2 audience, you got to build a Web 2 game.
Yeah, totally.
I just want to say that. Go ahead, Robin.
Yeah, no, or just make it so they don't know that they're really playing, right? And that's where I will get ostracized for saying that too. Just absolute max abstraction. And I'll bring up a point. Shout out Mythical for them for doing a great job with that. But similar experiences, right? Like you just OAuth in, or you're using your GoogAuth or whatever, and everything is just kind of done in the background. And then when the player finds value in venturing into the ecosystem, then they can allow themselves to do so, go through the extra steps, right? I think as long as it's not forced, right? But I forgot where I had this conversation. Sorry, I'm gonna side skirt a little bit. I think the biggest thing in Web3 is we always try to force why Web3 is so good instead of letting people tell us why something is good, right? Like we have a huge sales problem in Web3. We have engineers trying to sell, and it's terrible. I think you should be like, hey, you should go enjoy the game. And then when someone's like, hey, I saw so-and-so, he made some money and he sold something, I don't really know how to do that. That's a great question. And then kind of lead that way. I think if we had more of that approach, I'm not sure, maybe I'm just a one-man band. I feel like there'd be a lot more adoption that way instead of the forced adoption thing.
Well, on the skins trading part, or like the skins note, where it's like, oh, like I can own my skins or whatever. Like people don't care about that until it's a problem, right? So like you need to also see what crowd you're speaking to. If you're talking to like the general public, they're probably not going to care that the skin in the last game is no longer available in the new game. But people that are upset about it, they probably have an easier way a pathway to a Web3 venture because they're going to be like, okay, I don't have to worry about that. And there's also like another talk about where it's like, do you really truly own the asset, right? So I mean, you got to really understand who you're talking to, and then you can market it a lot better. And I think what you're saying, Robin's like spot on. It's like a lot of people are kind of like not understanding the point there on how to do it, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is. But what he was speaking my language, right, is the predictive, whatever the predictive betting thing, which is huge, risk based. So I personally enjoy things where I think to myself, I think my skill is probably better than this other person queuing up. Let me put $1 on it and see where this goes. And that's good. But I also enjoy the RNG side of it as well. So I think adding that, I think Web3 is great for that. And it's a natural thing. The battle passes and all that. I don't like buying really like NFTs, but if you call it a battle pass and it happens to be an NFT, I already do that in Web2 gaming. For me, it's just it's a natural purchase. So that's just kind of how I view that. Again, I don't care if it's skins are interoperable, and devs have told us it's interoperability with skins and asset is a developmental nightmare, and trying to do that isn't worth going through all that. And do players care if you could put one skin from one game to another? It's better to just remake that skin in the new game than trying to find a way to make them interoperable. And I'm like, damn, that makes sense. It probably saves you money and headache, and then you can work on shit that's cool. And so I think that's great. So yeah, Aliyah, I like where you're going with that in terms of like skill sets. Like I can see myself right now, Hado with whatever he's choosing, and then me with my archer, and we just 1v1 it for XRP or whatever it is he decides he wants to do. And I think that's a good play. Plus it looks really smooth too. It looks a lot smoother from the last time I played, not gonna lie. Like it looks a lot better. So
yeah, and I was gonna say like collaboration and partnership is really important and crucial in the early days of like a new industry. I don't want to say that gaming obviously is not a new industry, but the Web3 side of it is, right? And so it's kind of like this thing where it's like, does Apple build a blockchain, or do they just simply adopt Solana or XRP or whatever, right? Do they simply adopt it? And I think like when you're building a game, like you just simply need to build the game and adopt the infrastructure layer that's out there, which is why I like the Warp Chain partnership that you guys went through. So I think there's good things there. I do want to touch quickly on what Cloud says. This is so true. Although Web3 products are getting easier to access, in my opinion, the learning curve keeps getting larger. Like if you actually want to be involved in the economy side of the product, there's so much a new user has to learn to be successful, and that creates a barrier. And I think I'll finish this point too. It creates a barrier of entry. So a lot of people won't want to enter this type of industry or even market or even the game because it might be very intimidating to have to read all this type of, like I used to call white paper the instruction manual of games. And I always thought like white papers for games just never made sense, because when I bought my games as a kid growing up or teenager, the instruction manual never got read. It was more so of like an art piece because it had like cool art on the cover. But like other than like that, like I can find out how to play the game by just playing it, right? But like these white papers, they act like a certain barrier to entry for dare I say market participants or gamers, because like now they have to read all this stuff, and then even if they read all this stuff, it may not be true to what's kind of happen or what's going on currently. With a instruction manual, at least you have like the instructions of the game, right? Like you have the game parameters set. The roadmap can change. The white paper can change, right? So just another thing I want to mention.
No, got you. I feel that 100%. We're going to go and push it to the next one. And you kind of touched on this a little bit. The question is, what stage of development are you currently in? And can people play anything yet? Or are you still building towards a first playable version? I think it's obvious that we can see that there is a playable version. But what stage of development would you say that you're currently in right now?
We are post MVP, pre backend stuff. I guess that's probably what I'd say. So yes, the operative question is, can I play right now? The answer is yes. I guess like with an asterisk, like I do take the game offline fairly often because obviously like I'm pushing updates and stuff, and you know I turn the servers off or whatever. But yeah, if you want to play, like particularly on Saturdays, I would say is like a good time. You definitely can play right now. And even if the servers are offline, there's no main menu to the game. So after you log in, use your Epic Games account. After you log in, you're in a 3D lobby. You're in effectively a single player lobby. So even if the servers are offline, you can test all 3 characters. You can use all the abilities. You can kind of like practice the game. And then, yeah, so the next stage of development for us is going to be all the backend stuff, which I'm working on right now. So this is like getting MMR online, working towards, like I said, a leaderboard. From there, that's going to turn into a tournament-based leaderboard, and then rewards for that. And you know, that's what we're all building out right now. But you can get in and play matches right now. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm super pumped about this. Like, I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with this. You know what it reminds me of, Otto?
What?
You know, switching back, because you know there's 8 abilities, but you know you have to hit to be able to switch them. It's almost like playing like Cloak Dagger and Marvel Rivals. You know how you're like switching between the two. That's kind of how I feel like that gameplay is, depending on situation, which actually is kind of wild, right? Because usually like ability sets are limited when you play games like this, like 3 or 4 probably max, but 8.
Right.
8 really changes things up, especially if you learn how to comp, get good team comp with other players. I should probably ask that. Do some of the abilities comp with some of the other players?
Oh, definitely. I would say probably the first like major, well, I won't say nightmare, that'd be hyperbolic, but the first like balance anxiety that I got was, yeah, people figured out there was like an earlier version. Anybody who's played the game for a while can tell you there was this like early version of the Mage's kit where there was a particular ability that it would combo way too well, like way too, and everybody would figure it out. It was like a thing in the Frost form, and then you go into the Fire form and use a different ability, and they comboed into each other like way too well. And yeah, we were kind of just shopping the game around. Then we were doing different game nights with guilds or whatever, and I would just watch as like they just figure it out. They all figure it out slowly, and then like they're all doing 3v3. It's just 6 mages because they all just went into the combo. So yeah, so yes, and I have to be to answer the question, yes, definitely, and I have to be very wary of that because sometimes those interactions can go a little too far. But right now, I think they're in a pretty good spot.
I mean, if you have it in there, I mean, that's what I'm going to go learn too if we're playing. I mean, that's, you know, look how Marvel Rivals plays, right? Same type of thing. Everybody's in there trying to find a comp. Everybody's like, yo, play your position. Like, we don't need freaking 4 healers. I think it's going to be like the same type of thing here, plus 8 abilities. So it's going to go crazy, I think. All right, we got 2 more questions, boss. Number 2.
By the way, the poll is live. Go vote.
Poll is live. Go vote early. Go now. Let's go. Make sure you put your vote in for Aaliyah, friends. Make sure all of Immutable Gaming pulls up and votes, Stu. Let's go. Warp Chain, Warp People. Let's get up in there too. All right. Team-based competitive games need players to fill matches. What's your plan for building an initial player base and keeping matchmaking healthy?
Yeah, so to build an initial player base. So I have no illusions that I know I'm supposed to say this, I guess, but like this is not going to be like Fortnite or whatever. We're not going to have 10 million concurrent users, but the audience for this game does exist. There are comparable games that have existed and have done well. There's a game called Battle Right. If any of your audience is familiar, that was like kind of like an arena game like this. I straight up stole their orb in the center mechanic. It's a game that doesn't exist anymore, sadly. I had a lot of fun playing it. It's definitely closer to a MOBA though. It's like 2D top down or whatever. There's a game called Gigantic, which we're heavily inspired by. So the audience for this type of game definitely does exist. You simply just have to reach them. That's what I believe. So I'm really more of a fan of like trying to get some maybe like low to mid viewership streamers. I think that's a very good idea. Like it's the kind of game that like you kind of got to like sink your teeth into it a little bit. You know what I mean? So if you can market it to the right people, I think they just simply need to be aware of it. What was the second question? Oh, how to manage any multiplayer game is going to have like low player base concerns. Like once you split your player base, once you have MMR in your game, for example, that splits your player base even more. Once you have multiple game modes, that splits your player base even more. Even Fortnite, which I just talked about, they now do this thing where like it seems like they want to just like give max optionality to anybody playing the game, so you can play like any chapter or whatever. Well, that's like split their player base so hard where they've had to fill it up with bots and everything. I don't really want to do that. My goal really would be I want to use this tournament structure to do that. Like I want it to be, you can sort of play during the week, maybe you can grind some items and your XP or like whatever. And then the weekend is what everybody's looking forward to, where everybody condenses into one queue. I force them all. I don't even let them queue any other mode. Like you're just forced to queue into this one mode for 24 hours and you're all going to grind this leaderboard. You know what I mean? I kind of take the opposite approach. Like, I'm going to take optionality away from you, actually. I'm just going to make you do what I want. And that's how you're all going to be in there, you know? And that's why it's also forced solo queue. That's why I call it casual competitive, because it's not going to be perfectly competitive. It's not going to be a bracketed tournament. It's not going to be anything like that. It is going to be like you kind of just queue up. There is some randomness. You kind of just deal with that. But I think at the end of the day, that randomness also produces varied outcomes you don't get out of a more like static queue. So I think you'll have more fun in the end as well.
Hey, I gotta give you props for keeping it 100. Sorry, Pato.
No, I was just gonna say, I think it's always a good idea to not alienate a player base early on in development cycles, especially like during playtest days. Yeah, playtest. Because was it not ramen? You ramen in my head now. Was it Nyan Heroes that made the decision to like split up the player base, or did they not? I can't remember. But I can't remember. Like,
it's very common that happens.
Yeah, like it's like they released another game mode, and then I think like instead of having the same game mode and perfecting it, like a lot of people didn't like the new game mode or something like that. So kind of like alienated the player base a little bit. I think it's really good to like hone in on something that works and then like double down on that, make it perfect as possible, and then introduce something new as you get more players. But I do think like in the early stages, it's a lot better to just have people use the one mode. Because I mean, think of it like this. Like, I know this is kind of a weird comparison, but imagine if League of Legends wasn't just the main 5v5 mode. It was like this mode came out, they tested on it, and then like, okay, they said it's pretty decent. Let's introduce a whole nother mode. And then you have the player base now split between two ones, which are like better. And then eventually that did happen, but it's like they focused on that 5v5 player mode the most. And then other modes were, created after that. So that's what I mean by like when you focus on that one mode and building a player base around that one mode, you're not going to alienate your fans because now that's the one mode you have to play and that's the game. And then when a new mode comes out, you can bring in new fans. That's how I see it.
Yep, I totally agree. And make no mistake, like I want to have multiple game modes. I have them planned. I even have some of them like prototyped already. But yeah, it's better to have one when you're new like us and your player base is low. It's definitely better to have one because everybody right now, nobody's gated by anything. Nobody's gated by region, MMR, anything. It's like if you're queuing and anybody else is queuing, like you will match with them. And that's exactly what we need right now. And probably what I would do later on, to be honest, is like, I would even consider something like if we have 3 game modes, it's like, hey, this game mode is only available on Monday. This game mode is only available on Tuesday. In other words, just it's like, hey, I'm keeping that player base like in one spot as much as possible because that's very healthy for the game.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Sorry, Ron, back to you.
No, it's all good. Now, those are all great. Those are all great answers for that too. We're gonna move on to the last question, though. Over here, man, I'm in the game right now. Actually, I'm checking it out again. It actually feels nice. You recently hired a game designer with 15 plus years experience as your final piece. How big is the team now, and what are the key rules you have in place for them?
Let's see. How big is the team now? So the team is like me and then some extremely part-time people. So I do all the programming and all the leadership stuff. Every feature that's in the game, I made it. It's effectively a solo dev game, to answer the question most honestly. Now, I did not do the art and the music. Like, I do have people for that, but we're talking like very, very low hours, very low. The amount of time I can get them is very, very limited right now. So what I'm trying to do is to get some revenue generation online here. So we can do that, then I can, then it can kind of be reflexive in a good way. Like we get some money coming in, I can pay for more hours, we can progress faster. But Warp is helping with this as well because they've got people that can help me on the back end, which is like not really my specialty. I mean, I can do it, but I don't really like it. I would rather be doing like game features. So the situation is we're very, very indie, like for sure. And so that has, pros and cons. The pros is that you are definitely playing a singular vision and, we can move very fast. But the cons is that, like, we don't have a large team and we never will, frankly.
I didn't get to ask this question earlier, but I do want to ask before we hop into the lightning round after this boss is done. I know that, like, this is kind of like a more later down the pipeline type of question, but you got one collaboration with the Warp Chain. Are you going to be looking to do any other collaborations with players in the space or with some Web2 entities, like maybe some branding or something like that? Is that like something you guys want to like explore in the future?
Certainly, yes. I believe Warp has like plenty of connections. Well, I'm pretty sure Warp is the reason I'm here. So they have plenty of connections that they can get me in touch with. I have some ideas, I guess, but they're kind of just like pipe dreams, I guess. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I'm sort of deferring to Warp there. I mean, they're the marketing guys that they kind of know what to do better than me in that regard.
Got it.
As for like reaching out to people or whatever, I mean, I think as we become more popular, like there aren't that many Web3 games. You know what I mean? I think as we become more popular, probably we'll have opportunities for people to come play and everything. I would love to do like, these like one-day tournaments or whatever. I'd love to put one on where it's like it's totally open to like all the big Web3 game people or whatever. They can all compete. Mm-hmm. I like solo queue then as well, so they can like only one person's gonna win, so they can truly like talk shit afterwards.
True.
That sounds like music to my ears.
Well, that is gonna conclude the second boss, right?
That is it. That's going to wrap up the second boss, friends. Hopefully you went out and you voted because Lee's going to need your help with those votes to get through all 3 of these bosses. So that's going to get us into the next round. Hato's favorite round.
The lightning round or the final round? Which is my favorite?
I thought you liked the lightning round. I thought you said that was your favorite round, literally.
I love every round. I love the show, so I love every round. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Foolish crypto Hado. Foolish crypto Hado. With a name like that, this guy thinks he's a crypto guru, but he's really just a shit gamer. Isn't this the guy who thinks a minimap is a requirement for a game? Fool! It doesn't surprise me that this loser quit Valorant! Don't be like him, gamers. Get Slurfy. It'll make your gaming experience over 9,000! Drink Slurfy. Enjoy the blast. Know your place, gamers! Know your place! Follow for more content! Or your...
I like what you got there. Let me show you what I got. Check this.
Slurfy.
Catalyst.
Yo, I gotta ask the product team in Catalyst, and I'm sort of on it, but when Slurfy, I want to open up a can one time on stream and be like, "Yeah, got my Slurfy today."
Yeah, I need to be sponsored by Slurpee, not Celsius. Sparkling kiwi strawberry.
Yeah, Celsius will kill you. Be careful with those, man. Be careful. Don't be drinking too much of those, man. Get the sodium something in there. That's gonna mess you up.
Vanessa sounds like a rocket formula in this thing.
Yeah, there will be a rock formulating in your body with kidney cells if you continue to drink that shit.
I don't know what hydroxychloride is, but it doesn't sound good. It's in here though.
Look at that. Zanny also wants to know when Slurfy, right? We've been teasing it for like almost over a year, like 2 years now, man. Like, where's Slurfy at? You know, when the Slurfy?
Yeah.
When Slurfy? That should be the tweet of the day from the Catalyst account. When Slurfy? ? We're gonna move on into the Slurfy voltage round.
It's time for the Slurfy Voltage Round, sponsored by Slurfy Voltage. Feel the energy.
All right. So in this round, we're gonna have those quick, hard-hitting questions, like I mentioned before in the rules portion. I'm gonna be taking the first 5, and Ron will be taking the next 5. Question number 1 says, if your game had to fight another game in the Coliseum, what game would you challenge?
What game would I challenge? What would be a good one? Well, I guess the most directly comparable game doesn't really exist. Actually, no, I have a better. I guess we would probably fight World of Warcraft now. We would lose because that game is enormous. But that's like a game that I feel we're sort of like, at least in the way that the classes work or whatever, we're kind of like a spiritual successor there. So we would be like the new kid in town, like the new cool flashy combat, but they would be like the old veteran or whatever. They would win off of like experience, you know.
That would be David versus Goliath for sure. Next question says, which team member is most likely to accidentally break the game during testing? I mean, it might be you, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Team member? Well, he's not a team member, but we have one user in particular who has helped me a lot. He has found all kinds of bugs. So usually it's, to be honest, a lot of times most stuff I can find, like even just on my own while making it, but it's usually the users really. They find stuff that they like you never thought in a million years was even possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually it's like as you progress and your journey goes along, they become your employee because they've done so much for you already. It's employee by association.
We have very dedicated people. Yeah, I know. I'm like extremely grateful. Like we've had so many bugs get found just by users, and they take videos. Like they're so helpful. Yeah, I know. We had one recently. Somebody was like flying in the air. I'm like, oh great.
Gotta love those exploits. I also see the Catalyst account doing a what face. What's that about? Catalyst account. Also, hello to Liam. Good to see you in chat. Next question here says, pitch Aaliyah in 10 words or less.
I'm thinking. World of Warcraft meets 3D action camera in Rome. I don't know if that was 10 or not. That's as good as I can get.
Exactly 10.
Was it? That was intentional, totally.
Don't ask me. I can't count. So, I mean, I think you're good. I think you're safe. Next question says, gladiators, mages, or warriors, which is the coolest class and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think that the mage is kind of the coolest. It seems to be the crowd pleaser one people like the most. That's the one where if you hit your ice right clicks, it just feels like pristine, like so clean, So I feel she's like the flashiest.
How much did Mizzy pay you for that answer? There's no way that you picked it. That's what Mizzy loves to play as. He loves playing the mages, and he loves WoW, by the way. So,
okay.
I don't know, but I don't know.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute here.
Last question for me, then they're kicking over to Robin. What's been the team's biggest oh crap moment during development?
I don't know if it's like a particular moment, but I would say when we jumped, I got the multiplayer online. We probably onboarded maybe 10 highly dedicated people that would play every week or whatever. I would say the jump though from that to from the Discord going from 10 people to 100 was probably the hardest thing we ever did. I feel like it took me a really long time of pushing out fixes to feel like I was even on top of it, because you get that first 10 and they're you're sort of filtering for a person. They probably have a good computer. They probably are game savvy. They're tech savvy. You know what I mean? And so they're kind of just playing or whatever. But then you sort of bring in a more casual audience, a more general audience, those first 100 people. And, some of them are playing on a computer that they just bought from Best Buy. Some of them are playing on a laptop with an integrated GPU. So you don't even know, you know what I mean? Some of them, their antivirus is blocking your launcher and you don't really even know how to check for that. You just start having all these problems. One guy's thing crashes, but nobody else's does, and then you gotta get him to keep crashing and send you the logs. That was probably the hardest portion, I think.
Yeah, you got all sorts of different computer builds to decipher, and then you may have people that are not computer savvy at all. I don't know. It doesn't work though.
Exactly.
All right, Ramen, kicking the mic over to you.
All right, let's go. If Julius Caesar played your game, what would he say?
He would probably play the warrior, and he would probably like it. He would probably like that. He's he's a natural leader. He defends, but he also attacks when he has to. He'd probably like that.
Okay, I like it. The question was, what would he say? But I think you heard, what would he play? I'm good with both of those.
Okay.
No, awesome. The next one, this one's important. We were just talking about this. Coffee, energy drinks, or something stronger for those late night dev nights?
Oh, anybody who's in the Alley community will tell you that I mainline coffee to an excessive degree. This whole game exists. People ask, how did one guy make this game? And the answer is an entire pot of coffee per day, easily.
Do you put cinnamon in your coffee?
I just drink it straight at this point. I just drink it straight up, and way too much of it.
What's your favorite? This is a little side question. It's not part of it. What's your favorite kind? I mean, we got to ask, right?
To be honest, when you drink it straight, it kind of all tastes the same. I feel it's not it doesn't really taste good. I'm just drinking for the effects. So I'll do anything. I was drinking the big giant Folgers thing at one point, just scooping it out of that tub for a while. So I'll drink anything, to be honest.
That's the OG can. That used to be where we used to stash money in the hood. We had the little Folgers can, so I know that can also well.
Yeah, the big blue tub. Yeah.
Man, coffee is the dev. It's the dev liquid crack of choice. People I got an espresso machine next to my PC, or I got a K-cup dispenser that goes into an intravenous delivery system into my veins. And I think that seems to be the energy drink of choice. Next question is, which team member would actually survive in a gladiator arena? Good question, right? You got to know your people. Do they have your back?
I mean, I think I would do all right. I mean, I work out a lot. I think I would do all right, to be honest. Although I'm 2 years in of like sitting at my computer all day is definitely not helping. It would probably be.
That.
Actually, no. Everybody on the team works out now, so I don't know. Yeah, it would be down. Yeah, our 3D guy, he works out now too. He got big last year, and then Mike is always surfing, so he probably is pretty strong. That's a good one. I don't know. I still think I would have the edge though. I used to be like a power lifter and everything, so I'm pretty strong. I think I would have the edge.
Okay, he said power lifter. Okay.
That was a long time ago, but yes.
All right, man. Powerlifting. I don't think I've power lifted anything in my life.
You power lift the show every week.
Damn, that made me feel good. Thank you for that. I power lift this show every single week. Better believe that. All right. Next question. Most embarrassing bug that made it into an early build. Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh, that is a good one. Let's see. We've definitely had several. I mean, we've had some goofy ones with like animations or whatever, where like it's playing the wrong animation or it's playing it like incorrectly somehow. I think I had one that was in there for a while where when I'm in like development mode, I've got like different things I can drop into the map. It's like, hey, make this my spawn point, for example. Like I don't want to, because I'm just working on one particular area, let's say. I think I left one of those in once. And so people just played the game for a long time being like, I don't know, I get to just spawn at the center. This is nice. I'm just killing the orb off the rip. And I think I was in for like 48 hours. People were doing that. I was like, okay, that was pretty careless of me.
It's still kind of funny, though. It's still funny. You
Yeah.
get to look back on that, right? You get to look back on your developmental journey and be like, hey, have you ever had one of these moments? So I think that's good. And you know what? I love it when indies and everybody kind of like documents that, like kind of like a bloopers reel type thing. It's always fun because it's I don't know, it just shows that we're all human, I guess. I think those are fun. All right, last question for the lightning round, then we're going to move into the final boss, but complete this. Making a competitive team game taught us what? Or taught us that?
Making a competitive team game taught us that I should have started with a single player game. That's how.
That's a, you know what? That's an honest answer. I like that. I appreciate that. All right, those are all great answers. Some funny questions in there, but that's going to wrap it up for the lightning round. And we're going to move on to the final boss. So if you're out there, don't watch passively. Make sure you go and cast your votes. Aaliyah needs your help to beat all three of these bosses. Don't let them just get taken in by Julius Caesar and tanks. What's Zanny doing over here? Start with a single player game. You're right, Zanny. You know what, Zanny? You should build one. Zanny Strike instead of Counter Strike.
Zanny Strike. Counter Strike is a multiplayer game. Come on now.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
COD Mobile.
I don't play single player COD. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really play single player campaigns.
I don't think many people do. I think they just play like multiplayer.
No. There's people that play single player campaigns apparently. I don't know why.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah,
all right, we're going to move on to the last boss of the show. Now, if you've been here before, you know that me and Ramen alternate, and if you don't, now you know. Me and Ramen are going to be alternating these questions between the two of us. I'm going to take the first one, of course. And it says, the hero battler and MOBA space is crowded with established titles. What specific gap in the market are you filling? Or what audience are you serving that isn't being served well? I think you kind of answered this if you want to go into further detail.
Yeah. We're in like a sort of like subspace of that. There really isn't, like, if you want one that's in 3D, actually, I don't think you have any options at all. I mean, you have like Smite, but that's not really 3D. I mean, like, there's no Z-axis. Like, I don't think you can even jump in that game. You know what I mean? Like, we're fully 3D, locked action cam, all that kind of stuff. And then additionally, we're not really a MOBA, like in the sense that like it's not like lanes and creeps and all that kind of stuff. There's no items and builds and all that kind of stuff. Like, we're really more just like a straight up, I always say fantasy battler because that's just like the best way I can describe it. There's nothing really directly comparable. So we're kind of filling a space that I don't really see any competition in right now.
Yeah, and I would say that it's you have a bit of like PvE elements in those type of games. This is more PvP for sure.
Yeah.
So like that would be the biggest difference that I noticed. But yeah, let's move on to the next question.
All right. Most successful competitive games require significant ongoing development, balance updates, and community management. How are you planning to sustain development long term?
That is a good question. I mean, until now, I've done the creating. So, in theory, as long as we're afloat, I should be able to more easily manage the maintaining. There will probably be a period, depending on, like, it is true. If the game gets very, very popular, then we are going to have to pump a ton of content. Like, we are going to have to make lots of weapon skins and emotes and all that. And that probably will require, at least temporarily, like an increase in head count and everything. But I think that's also kind of just proportional to the audience. Like, if we get that popular, that means we're making money, which means I can hire people and whatever. I think the answer for like sustaining is just that I got to keep my costs really, really low. And as long as I'm around, the game progresses basically. So as long as we can keep our costs relatively low, which thus far we have been able to do, like, we're okay.
Gotta love the answers. All right, moving on to the next question.
Oh, to me? Okay, you didn't say how to.
Yeah.
Well, I do have a quick follow-up in terms of like you making all the development calls and everything. Is there ever going to be like a period in time where you guys think of doing some sort of user content where it's like they can create their own maps or own scans, whatever? Is that anything you'd ever want to venture into?
That is really popular right now. It's quite tricky to make. But I know that is like extremely popular. That's like Fortnite Islands and Roblox and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I guess I would kind of say the same thing. It's like if we get popular enough to where people want that, then that probably means we've made enough money to like, develop those features. I do think that stuff is kind of cool. I mean, that's like, I grew up on that stuff. Like, people would do mods and everything, and
yeah,
gaming has kind of gotten away from that as everything became locked down. But yeah, I do kind of like that stuff. I mean, I would like to do it aspirationally, but it probably would have to be like, we've grown enough and we have enough of a user base, we're making enough money to where I can like risk developing a feature like that.
For sure. Good to know. Just a food for thought there. I know like a lot of people in the Web3 space, but in general, that like to kind of customize their game to their liking, maybe interested in something like that. But the next question says, you're working with Warp Chain as your publisher. They're testing a new decentralized model. How does being an early game in their ecosystem affect your launch strategy and expectations?
Well, I think being early with Warp means we get all the attention, to be honest. So we get a lot of their attention right now. I get a lot of individual attention from like key leadership positions and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's really good. That was definitely part of the reason I was down to sign the deal, like, for sure, because we will be one of the like first major games like pushed by them and everything. And so because of that, we probably get a lot of help. That's a key thing also, kind of similar to the how to sustain development costs or whatever. You'd be surprised where if you're easy to work with and your game is good, you can get like services at very large discounts, actually. Like you can kind of just ask for them. You know what I mean? We've got like an MMR company we're trying to work with right now. And it's like a totally friendly relationship. Like, they're totally down to help us and everything. So yeah, I definitely like, I've been pleasantly surprised at how it is to like leverage those relationships.
Take notes, rest of Web3. This is how you do it. You don't have to build everything. You can
definitely
obviously use a third party.
Yeah.
Duh. Sorry, I'm taking shots. All right, back to you, Robin, for the next question.
All right, you kind of touched on this, a little bit, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Competitive multiplayer games often struggle with player retention in Web3. What's your approach to keeping players engaged for the gameplay itself not just the potential earnings.
Yeah. So this is sort of the inverse of the other question. Yeah, like it is true. People, you got to give them something to grind. Like, you know what I mean? They need to see number go up or like rectangular progress bar go right or whatever.
Right.
So we do plan on doing that. I do think kind of similar to the other question as well. Like we are offering something that is not really out there right now. So it's kind of like if this is the type of game you want, you're definitely gonna like it. Like there's nowhere else to there's nowhere else to go. You're kind of stuck with us. And I think it sounds cliche to say, I guess, but first and foremost, the game is just like really fun. Like outside of a monetary perspective or whatever, like I do think you will have fun if you play. I think you'll experience your first like sudden death last second round or whatever, and you'll have a good time.
It already sounds intense, and yes, I will. I will definitely get some of this action, especially when he said, the weekends are the hot time. Listen, I think we can fill in a little gap over there in the morning on Saturday mornings, and definitely get some of this gameplay in there too, especially if more people are online. And yeah, there's some sweaty ones that cruise by, so we'd love to get a game night in.
For sure,
All right.
for sure.
Last question over to Hado.
Yes, sir. It says, where do you see Aaliyah in 1 year? What does success look like for this project at your current scale and resources?
That's a good question. I would say 1 year is a pretty long time. So I would say 1 year we're fully released. You know what I mean? We're on the Epic Game Store where we've got a lot of people playing. Like, you know what I mean? We're probably the stuff coming out of like our Twitter account or whatever is probably more like, hey, here's the new character we're working on, like, you know what I mean, stuff like that. Success to me looks like my team and myself are all paid a good wage and we exist, and we actually have a better success for me means we've made enough money from Alia that it's going to continue to exist indefinitely. It is more than self-sustaining. It's profit generating, etc. And I would say my measure for success is that when the time comes that I can maybe delegate things away enough to where I can work on a second game, that game is allowed to fail, and then I can make a third one, and everything's okay. In other words, like right now, it's very stressful for me because this game kind of has to work at this point. It's like my full-time job. So that has been, I made that up as my measure for success a little while ago, where it's like I need to make enough money to where I'm allowed to have a game that I can make that is no pressure. Like this is just either going to work, or if it doesn't, that's okay. I'll just make another one. That would be my measure for success like a year from now.
I respect that answer, and I think I think that you put the passion behind it. With that vision and goal in mind, I think that's a dangerous composition. It's a dangerous combination for success, because I do think I don't want to say the word desperate, but the hunger I feel is there, and I feel like a lot of these games in the Web3 space, not to dunk on them too much tonight, chat, but a lot of them get a lot of investment and show nothing. And here you have Aaliyah showing something every single day. So think about that before you rush over to a mint out party in Web3. We do have a question here from the audience. Before we wrap up the show and conclude the results here, how much would you say is a lot of people playing the game?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, I've always said that if the people are monetized well enough, I mean, if you have 10,000 people playing your game, that's pretty good. I know most people would say, "Oh, that's so small." It's yeah, but if the monetization is good, 10,000 people for us, to be clear, we're not a AAA studio. I don't have to pay millions of dollars in salaries or whatever. So I would be satisfied with that. I always like to shoot low. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd love to have 1 billion people playing the game. If that happens, that's success beyond my wildest dreams or whatever. At that point, we're in a different stratosphere or whatever. But if we just have enough people to sustain the game, I I don't know the number offhand of like how many people play Smite, and then that became Hi-Rez's like main game. Like I think they sunsetted everything to do Smite 2, and the number isn't that high, but they probably all like buy a lot of stuff. Like they're really into it. I kind of compare myself more to something like that. If we do that, and we're like, that's also a major studio, to be clear. We're like half a dozen people or whatever, and they're all part time except for me. Then if we do that, like we're in very, very good shape.
I think I tend to agree with that. I mean, you mentioned Smite, like that's definitely like a cult-like following. You have like a small movie that has like a cult-like following that always pulls up. It's not gonna like be a blockbuster, but it's like, this is what they like to pull up to every time they see their cult-like following, right? So, exactly. Yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from there. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for the boss. Let's wrap it up for the last boss of tonight's show. We're going to go over the results here in just a second. Ramen, can you please stop for just like 2 seconds?
Wait, what happened?
Thank you. You did a great job.
Wait, no.
I asked for 2 seconds and you stalled perfectly. Ramen said, ask and you shall receive, my brother. Thank you so much for stalling.
No problem. Smite 2's got 4,495 players currently in game.
Thank you for that stat update.
No problem.
Now, we talk about this week's episode when it comes to scores. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. Not much has changed. Now, what do I mean by that? We'll find out. On boss number 1, you scored 100 out of 100. On boss number 3, you scored 100 out of 100 with the most votes for the night. And boss 2, you scored another 100 out of 100, but put your score at 100, which means you won. You won today's show.
Wow, you beat all the bosses. Congratulations.
And I think, quite frankly, it's granted, and it's absolutely deserved, because for one, when I see a game in this space and I'm scrolling and I'm struggling to find any content on the game within the first 5-6 posts, and it's just like mint this or whatever, and I go to Aaliyah's page and it's just nothing but the gameplay. I mean, come on. You deserve to be today's winner, and you definitely won today. How are you feeling, Aaliyah?
Hey, well, thank you. Yes, I feel good. And I totally agree with you. I always want to put the game out there. I think that's our greatest strength.
It's your greatest strength, and it's crucial, because if you don't do it, who will, right? Ramen, what did our winner win today?
Oh, boy. You know what he won. I was trying to do announcer things. Probably not going to work. But just like you saw earlier today, when you were able to claim that Rev badge, we actually have something similar for everybody that scores 100, but for anybody that actually beats all 3 bosses here on the show. And that's also going to be used for the Catalyst ecosystem down the road. I know I've been saying that for a long time, but I swear on everything in Web3 and Web2 gaming, we are cooking. So collect those cartridges for the show, for all the bosses, or for all the guests that have gone out there and beat the bosses. I can't wait till you guys see what we got stored for everybody that beat these bosses, for helping us push this boss battle show forward. Because you know what? Without the guests, there'd be no boss battle. We'd just be broke battle.
Yeah, there'd be no show. And you know what? That road is long, but it is a treacherous long one. And, all roads must lead to their destination at some time, right?
Absolutely. And I do got to give credit. I think a lot of those hundreds from the Aaliyah account, listen, he came with the utmost transparency. He told us exactly what was going on, let us know, the different milestones they're trying to reach. And I like that. It makes me feel good about wanting to, I guess, I don't know. I feel like we've been lied to a lot in Web3. So anybody that seems honest, I fuck with them. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And dude, Warp, and then with the boys over at Warp, I mean, we love Warp, so it's easy.
We do love Warp. We do love Warp here. Zanny, if you're looking for the mint, just go to the Catalyst account. You'll see the badge that you can mint for free. Doesn't cost you a single dime. Boys and girls, boys and girls, thanks for watching today's episode. Please follow the stream if you're new on whatever you're watching. We'll be back very, very soon, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Bye, everybody.
Play Aaliyah. Play it.
Play it.
Play Aaliyah.